Hey everyone, this is Raina with Purpose and Passion. I am so excited today to have my homegirl Desiree in the building. You know, I'm all about women empowerment, also about educating, teaching awareness, and just inspiring people through other people's stories. So today I have Desiree Contreras, and I have to say it in Spanish because I didn't want to say Contreras. So Desiree is the owner of Chopped Up Cherries Embroidery. And one thing about this young woman, I call her young woman because she's so vibrant, like she's just full of life and that smile is so beautiful. And she's a hard worker and she has a powerful story to share with you guys today. So I hope you're ready. Hey, Desiree.
Hey, Raina. Thank you for having me again.
Of course,
this is the second
right?
time, so
that's why I said it's a reunion, boo-boo.
It is.
It's a reunion. It's 2022.
I know.
So we're gonna reflect going back a little bit, like back to the future.
Right.
So tell the viewers a little bit, kind of like an autobiography about yourself. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, my name is Desiree Contreras. I'm the owner of Chopped Up Cherries Embroidery. I'm a graphic designer. I started my business 8 years ago. I started my business with $14, and it was just a major struggle for a long time. And I ended up landing an account with Frito-Lay that got me into a shop. That's the short version of it.
Yeah, that's the short version. Mm-hmm. So let's go back to where you were born and raised.
I was actually born in Oregon.
Ah, okay.
I was raised in East LA for a while, and then I moved to Hacienda Heights.
Yes.
So that's where I'm from.
All right. So when we had talked from our last interview a long time ago, I remember we were talking about your teenage years. Remember the pictures we saw? Like, well, that I saw. Yes, your life. I mean, like the pictures I saw with the long hair and everything like that. You know, take our viewers through that journey. Like, you know, how was high school? How was life? You know, how did you become who you are today? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I had pretty good high school years. I was prom queen for one, so I know it's kind of funny to think that I was prom queen, but yeah, I was pretty popular, but I was not living my truth. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I wasn't living my truth is because I was raised super religious. Okay. So because of that, I was afraid to let people know that I was gay. Mm-hmm. I knew that I was gay at a pretty young age.
How old?
I was 15 when I had my first experience with a girl. But because I was raised in such a religious home, it was really hard for me to be who I was. Mm-hmm. So I struggled with that because I didn't want to make my parents feel ashamed. I was also like indoctrinated with so much religion that I felt that I was doing the wrong thing. So for a really long time, I wasn't able to be myself. So reflecting back to the pictures that you're talking about, I had long hair, I was very thin, I had tight clothes, and that really wasn't myself. Yeah. I was just trying to fit in and be somebody that I was for everybody else.
So let's talk about the long hair and things like that.
Yeah, so as I was mentioning, it's not that I didn't know who I was, I couldn't be who I was because of everybody else. So the minute that I went to college, I dormed there and I went buck wild. Like I shaved my head, I got tattoos, I just went crazy because I wasn't able to be myself. But the minute that I would go home and visit my parents, I had to then put on that front. So I would wear a beanie. I would I had a bunch of tattoos that I didn't reveal to my parents until 10 years after I had them.
Yes.
So I carried a lot of shame for who I was physically and emotionally. Mm-hmm. So it took me actually until 3 years ago when I started therapy to be myself and to know that I don't have to carry that shame and that guilt. And it feels amazing to not have to do that and to be accepted by my parents.
That's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? I work with a lot of youth, and them coming out, like the first thing, because, I tell them I'm straight. I don't know exactly how they feel inside, but I've always, asked questions to understand, you know what I mean? And I remember having a youth saying that he wanted to come out, but he just didn't know how. So the first question I asked him was, have you ever been with a girl? How do you know you're gay if you've never even been with a girl? And he was all like, I don't know, I just don't have no desire, I don't have a desire. And then I was like, okay. So I was trying to understand because, for me, when I was growing up, I've had crushes on guys, but I think it was in my adulthood where I started to have not a sexual attraction towards women, because I was something else. So I used to be in the strip clubs, boy, my gosh. And I would love to look at a woman's physique compared to a man. Like if a guy had like a thong on trying to dance, back in the 90s, that's what they did. And I was like, ew, put some boxers on. You know what I mean? But when you see a woman in her outfit, dancing, she just looks so beautiful. I always tell people, I was like, when God created Adam, it was like a rough draft. But when he made Eve, it was the masterpiece because the way he built the women is just so beautiful for me. You know what I mean? Right. So that's why I was asking him, like, well, have you ever been with a girl? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, have you ever tried? And he's like, I don't have no desire. So I had to be quiet because, this was something new for me, understanding the youth, because when you grow up in Inglewood, LA area, there's not a full acceptance of it. You know what I mean? They're not, if you see a person that is, butch looking or a guy that looks more feminine, they're not going to jump out the car and go whoop on you. You know what I mean? But it's not fully accepted yet. You know what I mean? So it's just understanding, and it's important to hear your story because there's young people that are age 7. You know what I mean? I even heard somebody said 5 years old, or whether it's 9 years old or 15. And so you just expressing yourself about your journey is important to people that are watching. You know what I mean? So it becomes personal, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's more accepted now. But I'm 41, so back in the 90s, it wasn't accepted. So I had to really be careful what I did. I've been gay bashed 3 times. Wow. So it's really scary to be who you are and be public about it. And sometimes I forget because now I'm so open and, everybody knows. Yes. So I live my life very open and it's normal and it's fun and to make the gay jokes. And I'm like, yeah, like it's hilarious. Yeah. But like, it took me a long time to get to that point because I lived in fear for so long. And then not to mention people are trying to hurt me now. People are trying to hit me. I had this guy, I was at this club and this guy was screaming. And this was right after the Pulse situation in Orlando, Florida, where they shot up the gay club. Yeah. So this was like 2 weeks after. I'm at the club and I hear somebody screaming really loud. And I didn't know that he's screaming at me. And I just see this like this shadow like start walking my way. And I hear like somebody screaming and screaming. And I'm like, who is he talking to? Anyway, he was talking to me. And he's like, you, like all these slurs, all these slurs to me that are really negative. He gets a drink, takes a sip and spits it into my face. So for maybe 30 seconds, I couldn't see anything. I was scared because I really thought he was going to hurt me. Yes. I ended up knowing one of the top people of this motorcycle crew, and I let them know, I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. I get what you guys do, and I respect that, but you need to know what he's doing, and I'm scared. I'm really scared. And he checked him, and he left me alone. But a lot of people don't realize, like, even in today's age, 2022, in the United States of America, people are getting killed, we're getting raped, we're getting just all this violence for being who you are, even though it's still accepted. So it's scary. It's still scary. I have to, even though I live my life very openly, I still have to watch my back because I know that there's people that just don't like it. And a lot of men are also very threatened by me as well. Yeah, I believe it because I've had these conversations where we've had a family member, married to a man and had an affair with a woman. And for this Latino man, it's kind of like his manhood was kind of taken away because it's like, I'm a man with this and you
cheating on me with somebody that don't even have this. Like it makes a person feel like less of a man.
Yeah,
you know
like
what I mean?
emasculating, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just it's a really deep conversation, you know, to have, like you were just saying, because I knew in the gang culture, that's how it was. Like in the 90s, you have one person that we all knew was gay, but nobody never talked about it, because back in those days, it's like whatever you did, but in your bedroom was closed doors. Whatever that is, your sexual preference, it doesn't come out in the public eye because we just don't talk about that, you know? And I can remember hearing some of my homeboys talking about how they just wanted to just take it. So then she can know that she's not gay. Like how you say you're gay, but you never been with a man. You know what I mean?
Back to that question, just like you said, this is a question that a lot of people ask that are straight with more straight mentality. It's like, how do you know?
Yeah.
And so a lot of guys tell me, oh, how do you know? Let me turn you out. Maybe you're this and that. And I'm like, how do you know? How do you know that you're not gay if you haven't been with a guy then?
Yeah.
Like it's the same type of deal. Like I know I'm not because I know if a man has never had sex with a man, how do you know you're not gay then? Like it goes.
Yeah, because exactly, because you've never experienced it, so you don't know if you like it or not.
They don't think that. They're like, oh, I'm gonna turn you out. Okay, you know, like.
Yeah. It's crazy what women have to go through. You know what I mean? I haven't even, you know, thought about the man perspective. You know what I mean? You know, but I just know that, you know, you're beautiful in and out. Okay. You know what I mean? That's why I got you here. You're beautiful in and out. and you're such an awesome boss. You know, I don't even want to say the B word because I don't even like. I'm like, but you know, you're a boss. And what I mean by like, I like saying a boss babe because, you know, it sounds a little bit better than a boss, you know, B word. But I just know that when you had went to an event, Grant Cardone's event, and you got up on that stage, I felt like I wasn't there, of course, but when I saw the footage, I felt like a proud mother. Yeah. I was like, that's my boy right there, you know? Talk about that. Like, come on now, like out of all those people.
Well, that's something that I manifested because I feel like if I really want something, I'm going to manifest it. And I've manifested pretty much everything in my whole entire life. That's so the crazy thing is that I discovered Grant on a Monday and I had no idea who he was. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this guy. Like he was like amazing. I loved everything about him. And then I figured out that he was having an event on Saturday and I'm in Anaheim. And at that time I lived in Orange County. So I'm like, oh my God, this is down the street. So I was like, how am I going to get his attention? Because I want to meet him. I'm going to meet this guy. So I'm into graffiti art. I did this piece where it said, I got my degree from Uncle G. And I held it up.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm going to meet this guy. So the whole conference, it was like 6 or 7 hours passed by. And I'm like, dang, how am I going to meet him? So anyway, he leaves, everything closes down. And I'm like, dang, my manifestation skills, like they're always on point. And I was like, what the hell, you know? Yeah. So I was like really sad. I went to the bathroom and I'm like, damn, like, you know, I didn't get to meet him. So I'm like walking back. I even went by myself too. I'm walking back. Why do I see him standing right there? And I'm like, oh my God, you know? So I'm just like, oh my God. So I start walking over there and his security's like, no, like, don't walk over there. And I'm like, oh my God, please. I'm walking. So I let him go and I see Elena, his wife, right? And I say, Elena, I love you guys. Please, let me, like, please, I just want a picture. Like, oh my God. She's like, come over here. I took a picture with her and she's like, I love your sign. Oh my God, this is brilliant. She goes, I'm gonna take you to my husband. She takes me to Grant. Grant's already in the car and he's like, I'm already in the car. I go, just let me take a picture with you. So I have a picture with him outside of the car, right? Yes. So I'm like, that wasn't enough for me. I'm like, no, I need to really, really meet him. Yeah. So my friend was like, you know, he's gonna be up north with Tony Robbins, with Trent Shelton, Gary Vee, all these people. Inspiring. And I told her, I don't even want to go. I go, you know what? I shouldn't. I have all this time at work that I have all these like orders. Like I can't afford to take off 4 days from work. And she's like, just come. She finally convinced me to go. So I said, you know what? I'm going to make him a jersey. I'm going to make Grant Cardone a jersey. I'm going to get his attention again. So there's 10,000 people there. And at the end you can ask questions. So I get my jersey and I'm just holding up the jersey like so that he can see it. So I'm holding it up. There's 10,000 people behind me. And he goes, I want that girl right there. Bring her on stage. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm about to meet my idol. There's 10,000 people behind me. Tony Robbins is another one of my idols, and he's coming on next. And I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, a fight breaks out. So they send everybody to sit down. So I'm like, oh my God, I just got robbed of my moment. Yes. I'm like, oh my God. So I sat down and I'm there with my little jersey and I'm just like, I feel defeated again, So security comes up to me. They say, you need to go on stage. Grant is asking that they come get you and you need to go on stage.
That's right.
And I'm like, what? So he brings me on stage and he's just like, out of 10,000 people that are here, not one of you thought of doing what she did. He goes, I want you to pitch your business. So I pitched it in front of 10,000 people. In seconds, I got like all kinds of followers. I've gotten so much business since then, and it's been like insane. And so he put me on like hard,
Yes.
But he was just like, you're amazing. Your work is amazing. You're thinking big. You're dreaming big. And he told everybody there, I want you to be like this girl. She thought different.
Oh,
yeah. It was like surreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I met Chen Shelton too after that.
Oh my gosh, what?
And I got to work with him too.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is what you call magical, man. Mm-hmm. All I know is Grant. I like Grant because he's from Louisiana. So if you know a little bit about me. Hood, recognize hood. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's from Louisiana, and I got family from Louisiana, and he's very down to earth. Like, he wasn't born rich, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Just hearing his story and how he is wealthy now. His business is like $1 billion business. And he still hasn't changed. You know what I mean? Like that vibrant, that loudness, just the exciting person he is. And his wife is amazing too. They're good people. Mm-hmm. And so, I wanted you to share that with the viewers, because when I seen you on social media sharing that moment, it felt like I was literally in the crowd. Mm-hmm. So I felt it. So when you said manifesting, I'm like, yeah, because I felt like I was there when I saw that footage. So after that event, business picked up on a whole nother level.
Oh yeah, because everybody that was there, I don't want to say everybody was there, but a lot of people that were there wanted to do business with me because Grant was like, you need to do business with her. Mm-hmm. And so I got probably, I would say, over $10,000 worth of business.
Oh, that's amazing.
And here I was worrying about missing 4 days of work because I was like, I don't know if I can afford it. Yeah. And still I get people that are still hitting me up, and people sending me messages like, wow, that was so brave of you. That was so awesome. Like, what a dream come true. People were treating me like a celebrity after. It was hilarious. Yes. Like, people were wanting to take pictures with me. I'm like, okay, I just got up there. But they were like, it was your bravery. Yes. The boldness of just getting up there and being able to pitch my business in front of 10,000 people. Yeah. With Tony Robbins on the side. Yeah, with Grant Cardone. You gotta have huevos
for that, man. Because some people get stuck. Now you got 10 minutes with me and you're like,
yeah.
Stuck.
No, I was just like,
you weren't stuck. You were like, damn.
Yeah. I was like,
love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. So, how did 2021 treat you?
Well, 2021 was my most challenging year ever because I got COVID. Mm-hmm. So I got it so bad that I was in the hospital. Yes. I thought I was gonna die. I had to get picked up by an ambulance because my oxygen level was at 72. Your organs start shutting down at 70. So it was pretty bad. I had COVID pneumonia. Wow. It was really bad. But the crazy thing is I didn't even know I had it because I tested negative 3 times. So progressively it started getting worse. Yes. And then on day 12, I ended up in the hospital in the emergency room. So that was really challenging. It was the hardest thing I ever experienced in my life, physically, mentally, emotionally. Not to mention it really hurt my business because I wasn't able to work. I mean, after I got out of the hospital, I couldn't drive. I could hardly even walk. Yeah. I went home with oxygen. I had to have oxygen 24/7, even when I took a shower, even when I slept. So it was something that I didn't expect to happen. But the most amazing thing that happened was mostly strangers that follow me on the internet that get inspired by me were sending me food, sending me GoFundMe. I mean, if it wasn't for all these people on the internet that watch my stuff, that support me, and I'm talking like strangers just coming together, save my business. And that's the only reason why I have my business today. It wasn't the people that were super close to me. Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't my family. Like that. You know, I mean, it was some members of my family, but so it was really humbling to experience that and to know that even though I don't have the biggest following, I'm still making some sort of impact. And, you know, and now I'd like to, when people have COVID, I tell them the tips that I've done, or, you know, people, I try to help when I can help. So it was really humbling. It was really hard to deal with.
How was the spiritual journey when you were in that hospital? You know what I mean? Because God is showing me spiritual journey. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, the spiritual journey was very intense for me. After my dad passed away, I went through a very hard time spiritually because I was raised super fundamentalist Christian. Yes. So I battled with that after I moved out because that Christianity didn't allow me to be who I was. Yeah. So I started to resent Christianity. Yeah. So for a long time, I actually hated God. And I was really upset with God. So I went through my own spiritual journey where I went to the other side of, I went to Agape Spiritual Center, which I was able to kind of combine both of them. Yes. So when I was there and I was literally facing death, I was having these very spiritual moments where there was this one, my dad passed away from cancer, and my dad used to go to that hospital as well. So there was this time where I had woke up, and it was probably around 5 o'clock in the morning, and I felt somebody holding my hand. And I was laying there in my hospital bed, and I felt somebody holding my hand, and I kind of felt like scary for a minute. Yeah, of course. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, what is this? And I felt that, and it felt like my dad's hand. And it's so weird to explain because prior to my father dying, I was like, yeah, right. Like when people said that, I'm like, oh God. Yeah. And so I felt that, and I knew that everything was going to be okay. And I literally felt like my dad's hands were very rough because he was a mechanic. So I felt that. I felt what it felt to feel just that rough hand. Right. And it was my dad. And there was no doubt in my mind that it was my dad. So he carried me through that. And it was very humbling and very spiritual moment. So as much as it was awful, so much came out of it. Yeah. So much like abundance came out of that awful experience because you literally were stripped from nothing. You know? Yes. And when you mean nothing, it's just you. You know what I mean? It's just you and battling what you were going through physically, you know, health-wise, you know what I mean? And then that physical part becomes mental. And then after that, it becomes spiritual. So that's why when God was like, ask her about that spiritual journey, I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna ask. And, you know, and it's an interesting journey, you know. But did you get over that I hate God? I did, but I had to rewrite who God was. And I had to figure out who God was for myself because when I was young, God used to be this scary person that would send me to hell. Or God became this like deity that I was begging to get what I want. Oh God, please let me get this job. Please let me do this. So it was more like a lucky charm. So as I got older, I had to figure out who God was to me. And so I went through this crazy spiritual journey because, as I mentioned earlier, I went to therapy and I went because I had this really bad panic attack. Yeah. So when I had that, I really had to dive deep and figure out what is all this coming up. So I had to redefine who God was for me and get to know who God was for me. And it was the best thing that I ever did. Yeah, building a relationship is the most important key. When I was about, I don't know if it was 5 or 4, I used to always tell God, send me back. Send me back. You didn't give me the right parents because my parents were gangsters. They was something else. I mean, I love my parents, you know, but I was like, no, I wanted a doctor and lawyer. Like, why did you bring me here? This is not what I was expecting, right? And then
I remember feeling that way. And then I remember also experiencing, you know, it's interesting, you know, because it's like the Bible will say, like, you know, when you die, you die. But then you have a child that grew up seeing dead people.
Mm.
And that was me. You know what I mean? And now I know it's a gift that is kind of like handed through my Creole side, that's for sure. But it's interesting because I remember when I got molested by my grandmother's husband, that was my first sign of rejection. Because I told my grandmother snatched me up and put me in front of her husband. And of course he's gonna lie, you know what I mean? And so she basically was like, God don't like liars, don't you tell this to nobody and this and that, you know? And that really hurt my heart. And so from there, I had an issue with God. I was all like, if you were real, this wouldn't have happened to me. You know what I mean? And so I went through kind of like a little downhill spiral, and then eventually got into the gang life. And I wanted to hurt people because I wanted them to understand what I felt. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I reflect back, like when I went to the Catholic Church, the crucifixion always stand there. And I didn't understand if they say Jesus already resurrected, why are we looking at the dead Jesus? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I found out through the elders that the crucifixion represents the death part. And us being sinners, we've done that to him. You know what I mean? And so it's a guiltiness, a reminder. And I was sharing with somebody yesterday that God is God and he has his rules. But people in society take God's rules and words and scripture and take it to another level to hurt somebody. You know what I mean? Not with love. Because love is, when God knows that we're sinning, it's conviction. It's how do you change this? It's conviction. The devil will go ahead and taunt you to where you feel, I'm not good enough. You know what I mean? Something is wrong with me. I'm trying to be the perfect Christian, but this is happening, you know? And I always tell people, you know, as I grown spiritually through my journey, I'm all like, I remind people all the time, the devil come to kill, steal, and destroy. God comes to bring you life. You know what I mean? And as you build a personal relationship with God, you become closer to him, and you start to find out that God is not that hateful God that they teach us to fear, you know? And so now I like to look at, you know, I'm a Christian, meaning like, you know, it's just me and the Bible and God relationship, no religion. It's just me and him. And when I open that book and when people come to me, it's like now I'm learning like these gifts that I've had since a child. It's not a curse. It's not a bad thing. It's called the gift of discernment. And so what I do is I heal people, you know what I mean? Through my hands, because my Native American sister told me I was a healer. And I'm using, you know, the Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth, as a tool for me, because that's my source. You know, some people like to do the rocks, right? Some people like to do the Buddha. So I feel like for me, it's God, the creator. And when I meet so many people, I have an understanding heart. You know what I mean? And it makes me feel like I know how you felt, because when I did wrong and I sinned, I've always kind of like felt like I wasn't good enough, or I had a guilty conscience because of A, B, and C. And I was so scared to try to be the real Raina because I didn't want to go to hell.
Right.
You know? And so just sitting here, that's why I asked you, like, do you hate God now? Because all I can hear is God saying, I love you. I love you. You know? And it's a deep conversation. You know, you went through COVID and everything. And then so what is new for 2022, Desiree?
Wow. Well, I bought a lot more machinery so that I can expand. So like I can do mugs, I can do mouse pads, I can do just a lot more stuff that I wasn't able to do before. But I think what COVID brought me is to show me how to balance not working like I used to, which I used to work like excessively, like 70, 80 hours a week.
Yes, burning yourself out.
Yeah, and I was always sick. I was always tired. I was always drunk. Like, you know, like I just to deal with all this stuff.
I know.
So like now I don't, you know, I found a balance of life, and that's what COVID taught me, was to slow my roll. Yes. And to learn how to relax, and that without my health, I don't have anything. So yeah, so just learning how to balance that. And then in 2020 is when I started the first embroidery school. There's nobody else in the world that is doing this. So I started that, and I started teaching people how to embroider because nobody else teaches it. You can't learn it at school. You can't learn it anywhere. Yeah. So I started that, but then COVID hit. So it was going pretty well. Then COVID hit. So I want to get back to that, but still we're in the middle of pandemic. So I don't know how that's going to work, if I have to like test people before they come, or you know, so I don't know.
It would probably be a person getting a COVID test. You know what I mean? Like they say 72 hours before. Like when you have to go to the concert, they're already posted, they're waiting. Yeah. But yes, I would say go for it. You know, don't let COVID stop you. Just go for it, but do it health wise. You know what I mean? Like making sure somebody has a COVID test and they could still wear their mask. You know what I mean? And just continue to do it. Because I know 2023 is going to be lit for you.
Thank you.
On a whole nother level. It's going to be lit. I see how God is working in your life. That manifestation, you know, the blessings, you know, like I see it. Like that COVID situation was a spiritual shift. Right. And I can just see, like, after today, you're going to be continued blessings.
I feel that too. And I just feel like it took losing everything to also figure out my worth too. Because when I first started, I was like, oh, let me hook you up with the homie discount. Yeah. Let me do all this for free. Oh, they're famous. Okay, I'm not going to charge them. And now it's just a whole different level where it's like, I understand my worth. I know that I put my heart and soul into what I do, and there's no doubt in my mind that I feel like I'm the best out there. Yes. And I'm gonna embroider your shirt, even if it's just a name, the same way that I'm gonna embroider something else that costs $300. Yes. Because that's what I do. Every single thing that I do, I put my best effort. So learning how to let myself know that I am worth it, and then translating that into my clientele and being like, I know this is what I charge you, but the price is going up now. You know, like that's just it. And if you can't afford it, you need to go somewhere else.
They have another company,
because I'm not the swap meet anymore. Yeah. So
go to Slauson.
Yeah.
Go to Slauson. Go to Slauson.
Because I ain't doing that in 2020.
So I wanted to talk about, you know, the show is called Purpose and Passion. So do you know your purpose, Desiree? I know that's a hard question. You know what I mean? It's simple, but it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I feel like I do know my purpose. My purpose is love. And my purpose is to love people genuinely. That's actually my middle name. My name is Desiree Contreras. So my middle name literally is love. Amor. And so I feel like I'm here to learn how to love myself and to learn how to love other people genuinely, and to uplift people, to give back to my community, to be the best person that I could be, and bring a level of honesty, integrity that it has been instilled in me since I was young. You know, my parents always gave back to the community. My parents were always very honest people that were all about integrity, and that's like a lost art these days. You know, people sway so easily, or people are so quick to manipulate or cheat or lie, and like that's my number one thing is like love and integrity, and that's what my purpose is, and to give back to my community. So that's it.
Yeah, I like that. And then what would you say is your passion?
My passion is, I would say embroidery is my passion, or creating. Being creative. Like being able to being a graphic designer is really amazing, because I have the power to make the sky pink. I have the power to put any object, any person, anything all together you know, I have the power to actually manifest anything that I want via Photoshop. So
Maybe
I feel
you can
like
manifest me looking the size 8.
and me
After
too.
this interview on this camera.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's my passion, is to really, like, when I actually faced death twice in 1 year. So when that happened to me, it's like my passion is to just live, like to just really experience that, because everybody goes day to day, like how I used to, working,
Yes.
holding grudges. You know, now I don't really hold grudges. Like this last year, I got 3 apologies I never ever thought I was gonna get in my whole entire life, that I was not expecting. So for me to be able to accept that apology, where before I'm like, hell no, I hate you to the end of the time. I don't care. I hold a grudge to all,
grave.
I'm
taking it to the grave.
Exactly. Like, I'll be like, no, I don't care if you apologize. Like, and this year I got these 3 apologies that I never in my life thought I would have gotten, and to receive those, and it was really amazing. So now it's just like, before my dad died, he told me, take it one day at a time. And at that time, I'm like, that's all you have? Like, you know, like, I was like, that's what you're going to leave me with?
But for him, it was powerful.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But
like,
now it's like, that's what it is.
one
It's
day at
like,
a
every day
time.
I'm like, this is
a
all
new
I
day.
have right now. And that's it. I can't be, you know, I get caught up in like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen in 2 weeks? What's going to this? But, you know, and I'm like, I don't know. And all I know is this moment. And in this moment, all of my needs are met, and that's it.
Yes.
So I have to learn how to live like that. And seeing the face of death twice in 1 year is like, showed me like, that's all that there was. When I was facing death, I wasn't thinking about my car payment.
No.
I wasn't thinking about I was mad at somebody, or I'm too fat, or this. Like, I was just like, oh my God, this is all I have.
Yes.
So it was really humbling, and that's what I've
imagine.
learned, to live literally moment by moment.
Yes. Well, I tell you, you know, life is very interesting. We only have one life on this earth, and we have to, like, I always tell people, we got to live it to the fullest. Not live it fast, but live it to the fullest, meaning like full of abundance. You know what I mean? Full of life, full of something. Because my friend Vanjie, rest in peace, she was 40 years old. She passed of cancer. And this was one of my homegirls I was ready to take to the top with me. You know, and she even, you know, her father, you know, when she passed, her dad says, Mija, my daughter said that, you know, you're going to be mayor of Inglewood. And she was so happy for you. She was like, Pop, she's going to bring me to the top with her. And it made my heart hurt because, oh God, I reflect on the people that I wanted to be here when I run for mayor this year. You know what I mean? And they're all in heaven. They're all crossed over. And so now what I do when I tell myself is that in the spiritual world, my people are looking over me. You know what I mean? And they're blessing me from above. Like, you know, and in the physical world, it's like if somebody means to harm me, you know, to smudge my name, my day ones are up there blocking that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me positive without crying. Because I miss those individuals. Like, these were the people that are supposed to be with me when I win November 4th, 2022, you know, like, but, you know, when I lost her, it was a reality check that we have to live our life. I'm looking at the camera now because this is deep. Okay. When you have a passion or a purpose or a calling or a vision or a goal, you must take action. You can manifest, and I've learned about manifestation since I was 15 years old. Say I'm going to be mayor of Inglewood, but at the same time, I'm writing an obituary in junior high about my death at the age of 18. Then in 97, when I hit the age of 18, I almost get shot in the face by my own homeboy, and that's when my journey changed. But it was something within me that I know is bigger than me for running for mayor of Inglewood. And here I am today, years later, but I'm finally going to do it. So my heart to you guys is that don't procrastinate. You only have one life to live. When you pass by that cemetery, you know how many people died with their dreams, their inventions, their books, their movies, their businesses, or with whatever they desired is gone with them. So that's what I wanted to share. If you have a vision, a goal, a purpose, a passion, do it. Just do it. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you want to leave our viewers with, Desiree?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel the same. Like, there's gifts, talents, capacity seeking to express to everybody, and there's really no time to waste. Like, a lot of people say, I don't want to live my dreams, or not that I don't want to, I can't because I have kids, or I can't. And like, that's all the more reason Excuses. To do it. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody thinks like we have this time, and that's how I was. I used to live my life very recklessly, and I just thought I'm just gonna die when I'm an old lady. Yeah. Like, I thought that was the plan. Yes. But once I got hit with that COVID, I'm like, oh my God, I can die, and everybody that I love can die, and it was such a reality check, even though I knew that. So people need to really just stop wasting time and really just embrace their passion and do what they love to do and understand quality time.
That's right.
We're not here forever.
No, we're not. And how can my viewers find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Chopped Up Cherries Embroidery. You can find me on TikTok at Chopped Up Cherries _.
Thank you so much, Desiree, for blessing us on Purpose and Passion. So excited to just be here in the building for the New Year's. Thank you, Luxemedia. God bless and have a great day. Until then, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Glutathione is a big word. It's the body's own master antioxidant. It's a scavenger for free radical, bacteria, and viruses. There are no products in the market with the ingredient NASET. NASET increases the production of glutathione that's in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system, elevate sense of well-being, support muscle strength and endurance, cognitive function, and liver support. It helps with increased energy and blood sugar regulation. Get your bottle of GSH Plus from www.salvationnutra.com.